Opening faceoff is going to go to the way of the Toronto Monarchs here, as this is game number 2 for us here at Children's Arena. Part of what's becoming a weekly tradition in the Arena Lacrosse League. Saturday doubleheaders here at Children's Arena. As off the stick of Sam Posma, number 14 tonight. Originally listed as number 10, but he will wear 14. As up top, Eric Krepensek will toss this into the corner. Red bucket of Cam Downey. Over to the far side, the low shot there from Tyler Ferreira of the Toronto Monarchs, wear their royal purple and gold uniforms. This is the home arena of the Oshawa Outlaws. Blue with red lettering, going left to right. Working away from Scotty Comer, who gets the start. Craig Wendy in net for the Monarchs. Here as John St. John gets pushed high. Looking for Jeff McNulty in the corner as it's centered out in front, all alone, and the goal. I believe that's Jeremy McWaters right in front. Oshawa with a 1-3 record has them in 6th place, ahead of only the Whitby Steelhawks. Oshawa and Paris, the only 2 teams. McNulty and Gilray picking up assists. Paris was scheduled to play Peterborough today, but due to winter storm in the area, that game was canceled, and Oshawa scores again. Cam Mancini picking up a rebound in front of Wendy, and early, minute and 31 seconds in right now, Oshawa's up 2-1. Gives way to Tyler Halls at the face-off circle. And early movement again as Graham Bergma, a perfect 3 for 3, and 2 of them he didn't even have to do anything. Pass to the far side. Oshawa scores again. 3-0. Gage Board absorbing a hit. As the Monarchs bring it over half, this is their first offensive set, really, of the game. This is already 2 minutes in to our first quarter of 4 15s if you're new to Arena Lacrosse or the National Lacrosse League. Eddie Renault trying to pass to the center. It tipped off a stick and went high, but then the turnover back the other way allows Tyler Ferreira to send it on a bounce to Cam Downey. Downey past the restraining line, stops just outside the fan. Downey in the middle now. He gets taken down there by Mark DeBrone. And on the crease, DeBrone recovers, and a big hit, sending Gillum into the crease, and a penalty called here by John Vandergiesen. I missed the call there. It looked like interference perhaps against Mark DeBrone. Illegal cross check. As Downey, pass a bit low for him. He took it off the midsection, and he's slow getting to the bench now. As picking it up and down the floor is Gage Board. Board nearly over and back. Grams Bergsma. Bit of a burst of speed to get over top of the restraining line. Bergsma and Gillen. A mutual show of respect, the handshake before the opening face-off to this game, as Wendy makes a save there, but another awkward one as it bounced in between the legs. Very uncharacteristic of him. He had a great summer, ending up competing for a national championship, and a great, what's now a 12-month span for Craig Wendy. As walking off the half boards out into the middle, a shot there for Tanner Buck. And that'll be the power play goal, the first one for the Monarchs as they cut into this lead. 3-1 now in favor of Oshawa. Paul Jelly will step to the face-off circle this time. The first time we don't see Graham Bergsma. And it's pulled out by Michael Gillen. Back into the Toronto zone. Around the corner, out in front. Big shot there from John Vesna, who will wear 55 today. John and James Vesna both in the lineup for Toronto as they're right by their bench looking for a change, and heads up there out the front door, Ryan Farazovic. We'll send it up to Jason Crawford. A huge offseason acquisition from the Whitby Steelhawks for this Toronto Monarchs team. Provides a lot of speed in transition and has become a valuable piece. Here's Downey through the middle. And that's off the arm of Comer and over to the far boards. Still waiting for possession off that rebound and finally picked up by Ferreira. The tall Brampton native. Usually you'll see him down by the crease. That's where he goes now and takes the shot. That bounces in front of Comer before going up and out of play. Hitting what's a very low ceiling here at Children's Arena. So we said Saturday doubleheaders are a thing here in the Arena Lacrosse League. As John St. John sends this to the boards. St. John getting it back for Oshawa. Takes a couple whacks, now up high. Looking to send it in the center. Sean Gillies turns away from his man to Tyler Halls. In now for Sam Posma. Posma into the far corner. Posma getting it back. As it's up top. Far side now. Eddie Renault shoots and scores. What a goal from the Oakville native. Toronto team chipping away. We've seen this a few times from them already. Where they get behind early on. Oh, heads up there. Low bridge fighting for that, and maybe hurt is Ryan McCrory. He does get up on the limp. As a quick shot here from Josh Toguri, who sends a shot off the shoulder of Wendy, and we'll take our officials' timeout. A quick start here, 3-2 for Oshawa. Oshawa to restart down in the corner. They have a 1-goal lead here with almost 6 minutes gone in our first quarter. Officials' timeouts will go every 5 minutes. So after 10 on the clock and after 5 on the clock, as the ball's worked up to John St. John, and a tackle near the crease where the Oshawa bench wanted a call. Through the legs of Wendy as Josh Gilray sends it low on the roll. After that early start from Oshawa, the defense getting an earful over on the Toronto bench. Tyler Halls versus Bergsma, and it's Halls that won that cleanly out, but Oshawa recovering the loose ball. And Ryan McCrory, we saw him limp off earlier, doesn't miss a shift as Cam Mancini takes this out of the corner. Looking to whack for it, Nathan Ethier. It'll roll up the boards in front of the Toronto bench, and that's where Halls will corral it. Ferreira to the far side. Spinning back is John Vesna. His shot comes through. And Comer makes the save. A bit of a stare down there between Samuel Clare and Ryan McCrory. Bergsma and Clare stare each other down right in front of the official. And it looks like Sam Clare is going to go as Comer on the bench. Ball up top, down to the crease. A lot of movement. Wendy back and forth. And I think the eventual shot tips off the crossbar. Shot clock will expire And to the bench, penalty box will go Sam Clare. Samuel Clare for a cross check, an illegal cross check, with 7.5 minutes left in our opening quarter. As Oshawa will set up the power play. St. John, Laskowitz, left side of the horn working first. Here's Laskowitz coming off, takes the pass from the goal line. And Laskowitz will score on the power play. Looked like John St. John in the middle setting the pick as Gilray passed it back up top. And the power play goal from Luke Laskowitz. Gilray off 5 goals so far, now with his 4th point for Oshawa in this game. As that ball flipped out of the stick of Vesna. And the Oshawa bench appreciates the effort. Here's Mancini. He looks to feed Mike Ribka, who joins the Oshawa Outlaws in warm-up, I believe from the Whitby Steelhawks, if I'm not mistaken. But now a member of the Oshawa Outlaws. Or was Ribka originally a Toronto Monarch? Anyways, a new team as Patrick Miles comes across center. Whitby Steelhawks Six Nations Snipers, the first game of the doubleheader here today. Game you can catch on the JVI Sports Network. Be sure to subscribe to this, the second channel. And be watching the playlist as well, as all 2019 Arena Lacrosse League games will be loaded there. Including tomorrow's game, Toronto. Quick turnaround as they'll go to the ILA at 4 to face St. Catharines. Bouncing ball just stays on the correct side of the line for Wendy, who immediately pops back to his feet and on a sidearm sends it to center. We were wondering how he would deal with the short roof here at Children's Arena. He likes to bomb those passes down the floor and can hit them on a dime. So first time we've seen it in this game, but no doubt Wendy's stick will be active, especially in the second short offensive change period. Nothing doing for the Toronto Monarchs there, but a quick passing play of Josh Taguri. After graduating junior, has played for a national championship with new to Oshawa coach this year, Steve Toll, who coached him in summer ball earlier. Looking to the officials, no call there, as then the hit. That is a rough shift for Matt Hodgins. There's John St. John, had a shooting lane, but quickly a defender jumped right in front of it, but then taking his place in behind was Jeff McNulty. This Toronto team can go on runs, although they are without Jordan Dance, a big part of why they can do that. As DeBrone comes in, Mark DeBrone's shot, Wendy the save, and then you see getting up and immediately looking for that quick outlet pass. Low shot, spinning there by Ferreira, and it gets through Comer. A unique lacrosse experience here at Children's Arena. You sit right on top of the action. We were talking about this in our first game. But you can hear a lot of everything, which may or may not be a good thing. As the ball popped loose, and then an extra shot and a shove will take us to the officials' timeout as we get a stare down between Patrick Miles and Rob Clofer. Posma gets us restarted here, the final 4 minutes of our opening quarter. As Posma plays it back off the boards, a pick there to shrug Josh Taguri. Comer standing in front, another shot, and it's Posma all by himself this offensive set, and he's going to come away with a goal. Seems somehow fitting there for Sam Posma. That entire offensive set was his work. Once that ball went errant onto the near glass, and he ends up on the crease and gets 2 shots, and the second one ends up behind Scotty Comer. 7-4 now for Oshawa as they race down in the offensive zone. Up top, Mancini. Now switching with St. John. Off the bench, Jeremy McWaters, who got things started here today with the opening goal. Back into the corner again. Laskowitz sets a pick in front of the Toronto bench. All the way up for John St. John. Long shot just to beat the shot clock. He does, and recovers his own rebound. St. John thought he might crease dive there, but he turns back, takes a hit into the end boards. All alone in front. Oh, Wendy, what a save there on Gage board. Got up looking down floor, but nobody home. 8-second violation. Only 8 seconds to get over half, and Mark DeBrone straight to the ball and straight to the net, and he scores. Quick rush there by DeBrone. He was the only one who went after the ball. Took it straight to the cage and makes it 8-4 as we close in on 2.5 to play. Wendy out of the crease now. Patrick Miles is going to go here. Gloves down as him and Rob Clofer. This is continuing their conversation from before. Clofer still got the bucket on. Miles doesn't want to swing. Clofer now gets it free, but Clofer's down. And Miles didn't get a shot away because the helmet stayed on from Rob Clofer, and they're having words about that afterwards. This conversation may not be done if they get to return to this game. On our way to the officials' timeout. Clofer and Miles had a bit of a stare down and had another one on that offensive set for Toronto. And it resulted in gloves down, but not buckets, which irritated Patrick Miles a little bit. He's gone to get another jersey now. Is 5 minutes each for fighting, but not a game misconduct, so we'll see if there's any more words after that as we hit the 2-minute warning here and 5 seconds left on this Monarchs shot clock. And they're going to pay a lot more attention to Posma, but it's not going to matter. Oh, have a game. Turning back in the low shot. Took a straight left turn as it hit the carpet. 8-5 now. As we said, Toronto has a way of finding themselves usually down but able to chip back. That was a big hit right in front of us. And Samuel Clare got straight back up and back on the ball as Downey comes through. Far side, Ferreira now, his shot bounces wide. Downey plays it back off the glass. Downey trying to cut back, trying to shake one defender. Played back again, and Comer goes down to make that save. Off of Jordan Majeros. Majeros and Ferreira, former teammates in Brampton, as there's a player down, and this looks pretty significant for Jordan Majeros. Majeros down only a short amount of time, which may be a good sign. However, very gingerly made his way off the floor with the trainer and has left the bench but not gone to the room as Mark DeBrone now runs over his man and then brings it up center. DeBrone has the shot ready to go. Lets it fly, and Wendy with the save. Mike Vertoli with the rebound, though, as John St. John off the bench as we're into the final 60 seconds of our first quarter. St. John on a bounce to Mick Waters. Looking to the far side, past a pick. St. John, pick in front of him. He'll shovel it towards the net, and it goes wide. St. John, a former, when he was drafted out of junior, it was to the Rochester Nighthawks. He's been in camp with the Nighthawks, I believe the Bandits, and most recently the Toronto Rock. As Josh Gillum will flip this over center. Ferrero will slow things right down here. As a hidden ball play, Cam Downey has it as he accepted that flip pass. Now over to the far side for Eddie Renault. Renault for Ferreira. High check coming, and he dodges past that. Comer will pick up with 10 seconds left, and a timeout called with 7 seconds remaining here in the period for the Oshawa Outlaws. It's going to go fast. John St. John gets the first assignment as he brings it up to the restraining line. Quick pass through the middle to shot, and Wendy made the save in the extra attacker set. Wendy seems to be settling in after a few shaky first minutes. Oshawa still with the lead, though it's only 3, 8-5 after our first quarter. Teams have switched sides here for the second quarter as Bergsma and Gillen. And Bergsma winning it so clean, he had to pass it back to his goaltender, had to come out of the crease to make sure it wasn't back in. And then he had to deal with Ferreira. But straight down the center of the floor and a bouncer that gets past a sprawling Craig Wendy. Ryan McCrory going end to end straight up the gut to make it 9-5. Should be Comer and Bergsma on the assists, I would imagine, as it was Bergsma winning the faceoff all the way cleanly back, and Comer keeping the play alive. Bergsma winning another one here as Cam Mancini circles around the far side. 2, 3, 4, 5. There's about 7 Oshawa players on the floor. And if you're a fan or a follower of summer ball, this is a different rule in winter lacrosse. So when it's too many men, even if you're on offense, it does result in a minor penalty. As they'll put Ferreira up top. Downey. Back to Eddie Renault as the shot comes in. Renault blows a tire. And now DeBrone with speed is going to work past along with Gage Board. Shot coming in. And Craig Wendy puts his stick high above everybody else as they pick up the pieces off to his right. They want to push as there's 2 Oshawa Outlaws stuck behind. As getting the ball back there was Eric Krepensek, and he got bowled over. They call it minor interference on the back. And that'll give the Monarchs a chance to change up. Whole lot of crazy looks there with a mix of offensive players on defense and defensive guys on offense. As McCrory tries to strip Ferreira, he does. Giving chase now is Downey, and McCrory crossed over and shot wide. And that's the second time, man. The rug burns are going to be some awful there for Cam Downey as he gets back to the bench here. Second time he slid through the crease, but Renault, that blistering shot. All the way up through junior, through senior ball as well. Eddie Renault's had that big outside bomb and working well twice in this game as Josh Taguri, Riley Morgan. A different look at the face-off dot for Graham Bergsma. Same result for Oshawa though. As they push it quickly to Mancini. Far side for St. John. Laskowitz now. He tries his shot, and Wendy with the shoulder save. Morgan couldn't handle it cleanly, and neither could I believe that's James Vesna. Wendy full splits to try and catch up to that. John St. John over the shoulder backhander in front of the Oshawa bench, picked up by Ryan Nolan. Nolan to the corner now. St. John. Quick peek of the equipment. As Laskowitz will give back for St. John. Stutter step coming through the middle, takes a hit and then takes the shot and then recovers his own rebound again. Second or third time tonight. They want the reset. bit late, so a couple extra seconds here for the Oshawa Outlaws as they work it out of the corner. John St. John was tied up in the middle as the Monarchs try and kick it forward. Now finally handled cleanly by Matt Hodgins. Trailing the play is Samuel Clare. He goes straight to the net. Hodgins, he can't connect, but, Sam Posma does, and he's got the hat trick. Bit of a scrambly play ends up working out for the Toronto Monarchs. They're showing 10-6. I think it's 9-7. It should be 9-7. As Ferreira will send it to Renault in the corner. Here's Renault up top. Shot down low off an angle, and Posma. And I think they're fixing that as was announced Oshawa's goal, but definitely Toronto's. But they may get another one here as right on the crease. Wendy lost the ball as it got caught underneath of him, sat down, and McCrory will get his second of the game. Paul Jelly will pull this face-off out. It goes straight to Ryan Nolan, who goes straight into the attacking zone. Slams on the brakes in behind the net. Over to John St. John. Laskowitz.
Sully, check the score at the timeout.
Big collision looking for the loose ball. As Laskowitz in front to McWaters. And the rebound off the back glass. It comes back to Laskowitz again. His shot high over top of the cage. And it'll be stopped in the crease. Oh. Nifty little play there. Unintentional nifty play as Tanner Buck tried to get it out. It was blocked. Went straight back to him. But then him and Samuel Clare couldn't connect. Bouncer off the end boards. We're about 13 seconds away from the officials' timeout here. As this one bounces all the way down the floor, and Toronto Monarchs will get great field position here. As Clare sends it to the far side. Taguri with a couple whacks for his man. And it's put into the corner. Ferreira gets to the crease and then jumps, but not before putting a step in. All the way down the floor, looking at outlet for Aaron Walker. Walker does catch up to it. It's played back for Gilray. Josh Gilray had points on 4 of the first 5 goals of the game for Oshawa, but silent since. At least that's what we've got him for up here. At John St. John, it's tipped. Doesn't get through to Laskowitz, as it's now picked up by Tanner Buck. And Buck will jog up across the restraining line and rip a shot and score. Tanner Buck, his second. And 10-8, I believe the scoreboard in-house is now correct, with 9:20 left in the second quarter. The Monarchs. This seems to be their MO every time they play get down, as they come in on a 2-on-1 shoot and score. Off the face-off now. Trying to figure out who scored. I believe that's Patrick Miles, who ripped his jersey in the fight earlier, ripped his 20 jersey, is now wearing 19. And that signals a goaltending change on the side of the Oshawa Outlaws. And I believe it's Ryan Schutzkowski now taking over for Scotty Comer. Trailing the play. Was Ryan Nolan, who ends up with the loose ball. 15 seconds remaining in the shot clock now for Oshawa. As Toronto trailed by 1, they've worked it all the way back, down 5 at one point. And it's the back in call. We get the officials timeout, 10-9 in favor of Oshawa. Good luck. Ball starting in the corner here off the officials timeout with 8.5 left to play. It'll be Josh Gilray. Quickly back to Laskowitz on the near side. Wendy working past his screen to bounce it up to Ferreira. Got to get it over as they're late in the 8 count, and they do just shovel it up towards Samuel Clare. Not too far as it catches up to Graham Bergsma. Wendy down. Oh, made the save as he threw the right arm out. It hits the arm and goes into the corner. It looked like he was falling back over the line. But just the reset signaled. I thought that might get a better reaction out of the Toronto bench. But it keeps the score 10-9 as Miles brought it back over center. John Vesna's shot goes wide off the end ports. On a bounce, Rob Clofer. Well wide there from Cam Mancini as his sidearm ends up all the way down the floor with Ryan Schutzkowski coming out of the cage. All the way around the net. Tanner Buck sitting on 2 goals now. Josh Tuguri trying for the quick restart. He does catch up to it, and another left arm save made there by Wendy as Tuguri take it into the end boards after the play. There's a delayed penalty coming here. As I wonder if it'll be 2 Riley Morgan as the 2 11s connected in the corner there. Here's Laskowitz. Up top, John St. John. He tries to put it into the corner. Nearly picked out of midair by Clofer. As it's back for Laskowitz. Shot clock down to 5. John St. John lets one fly. And it's through to Wendy who makes the save. And that one stuck in the rafters for a bit before it came down with 6:49 left. It'll be a power play here. Now this is interesting because the signal from the official was boarding, and I think the bench is correct there. There is no boarding minor penalty. Have to double check the NLL rules on that. So we did see a 5-minute boarding major in the previous game. 2 summer teammates, Gutch Salinas and Jimmy Chadwick, getting tangled up. Again, the Six Nations Snipers, Whitby Steelhawks, a game you can catch on the JVI Sports Network. As this will be a check from behind against Ryan Nolan. They're going to call it a cross check, actually. So we'll be 4-on-4 here for 1:26 as that takes the power play away from Oshawa, 34 seconds into it. And Ferreira from up top will give it to Renault. Far side now. Dancing out of the corner, it comes to Downey. Cam Downey for Ferreira. Another penalty here as down and looking almost out was Schutzkowski. And it'll be a slash. And I think it's Clofer going to get it as he heads back to the box. One bench arguing the slashing call, saying it should be nothing. The other bench arguing it should be a 5. So now 4-on-3 in favor of the Toronto Monarchs as they work it out of the corner. Up for Ferreira. Back to the corner again. Posma already with his hat trick as the save made there by Schutzkowski. And all the way down, here's McCrory, puts it through the legs of Craig Wendy. Ryan McCrory now with a hat trick and 5 points in the game. And we're 45 seconds away from a 5-on-3 in favor of the Toronto Monarchs. Tyler Hulls, Graham Bergsma back to face each other on the face-off, and it's Hulls winning it, but perhaps because he moved a little too early. Bergsma wants a quick restart, but the ball was slowly rolling its way to Mark DeBrone. DeBrone. Oh, a number of moves as he comes in all alone, and Mark DeBrone with his second of the game. I think 11-10, I believe. As we're still 4-on-3 in favor of Toronto. Oshawa with it way up high in the stick of Cam Mancini. He's being spied by Sam Clare as we have 5 minutes remaining here in the first half. Mancini will dump it back towards the net where it's handled by Wendy. And now jogged up over center by Gillum. Peak for the clock here as the sticks are out to let Oshawa know that they're down 2 men, 5-on-4. And Renault came streaking off the near half wall. Couldn't quite get the shot away. As coming out of the corner, McRory looking to try and pick it up. The shot clock has reset here, and now it resets again as Toronto touched it. They must have said that Oshawa got possession. They're arguing as Renault puts it onto the crease for Ferreira, who goes back up top for Downey, and right over the top as McRory ducked underneath. I think that might have been Posma that went right up and over the top. As 4 minutes left to go, and we're back to even strength. The Oshawa Outlaws killing off that 5-on-3. Well, both 3 penalties, or 2 penalties rather, occurring mostly at the same time. This should be a shot clock violation as John St. John nearly got a shot away out of the corner. As Miles will get this started. Miles going to stay out for an offensive shift here. And it's played back for Vesna. Vesna up top for Buck. Bouncer off the boards, ends up hitting the rafters. Thought we may get the officials' timeout. I don't think we've taken it yet here. The second one of this second quarter. May get to a spot where we can't take it as Mancini will leave for Laskowitz. Big pick in front, and everybody goes down. James Vesna, I didn't quite see the number, but it's going to be Vesna going for a holding penalty. This one bounces off a leg and all the way down the floor. It's bouncing in through the crease. Oh, that was getting close and exciting. As Rybka brings it up. Rybka straight into Vesna, who's already headed off for 1, trying not to take a second penalty. This is into the rafters with 2.5 left in the first half. (12-9) right now with 2.5 minutes remaining in our first half. Power play here for the Oshawa Outlaws. Brought to you by Visionware. Every home power play this season on the JVI Sports Network will be brought to you by Visionware. Up top for McWaters, around the back. Laskowitz straight down the pipe, and a good easy save there for Craig Wendy. He'll send it on a bounce. Up for Sam Clare, who works in. He got hit after the fact, and a lot of traffic. Clare heads up there to roll out of the crease, realizing that Ferreira was probably going to pick that up. And Tyler Ferreira does indeed. And realizing that Ferreira was going to pick that up, if he does and takes the shot, it's a crease violation. If the ball ends up back of the crease and Clare is sitting there. But he clears out in time, and now DeBrone handling this faceoff. One-man change off the draw team over on the Oshawa bench. As John St. John will give to Laskowitz. And St. John and Laskowitz again. Laskowitz now finally down into the corner for Rob Clofer. Bouncer off the boards intended for McNulty as it's picked up. As here's Hodgins. Hodgins finding Posma, and it's his shot saved by Schutzkowski. And now a roller that goes up and finds Rob Clofer with 45 seconds remaining in the Outlaws man advantage. Clofer and Laskowitz playing catch up top. Now John St. John as McWaters slides back up top. All the righties cycling here as Clofer back for St. John. Down in the corner, Mancini as McWaters is tied up. As we hit the last minute, here's Ferreira. Eau Claire does pick up an assist. As this ball sent up top for Gillum. DeBrone collides with Gillum, and that knocks the ball free as DeBrone will pick it up at the tail end of this power play. Remember, Oshawa took their timeout at the end of the first quarter. They do not have one here in the second. Toronto Monarchs will have one. As halfway through this Oshawa shot clock. Laskowitz, Clofer, over to the far side. It's returned again. Laskowitz tries to shoot through a crowd, and it went wide. 13 seconds immediate timeout call here by the Toronto Monarchs, who will set their goalie out last shot play. So we get set for the Toronto Monarchs' last shot play. They do have Craig Wendy on the bench with 13 seconds to work. They're down by 2 here, 12-10 at the tail end of the first half. Spin back move there by Downey, and the shot off the corner and up into the rafters. No one goes to the bench. Wendy's going to stay there, but headed down the floor. A couple guys to play. Goal! The bouncer through the crease, and Graham Bergsma thought he had a 200-foot goal. That was as close as they come. Toronto has trailed the entire way, down by 2 now, as this is the battle for third place. You're watching the Arena Lacrosse League on the JVI Sports Network. (12-10) after the first half as we get settled in here for third quarter. 22 goals in that first half hour of play. As John St. John to the far side, Laskowitz will step in. His low three-quarter shot hits off the end boards and will bounce the length of the floor. Hat-trick in that period for Sam Posma. Tyler Ferreira, Eddie Renault, and Tanner Bucker sitting on 2 goals apiece. The only other goal scorer, Patrick Miles, who, if you missed it earlier, now wearing 19 if you're looking for the number 20. He'll have the bright white helmet as well. As the race is on for this loose ball, it will be Oshawa ball in the over and back, but Mark DeBrone has been speedy and shifty here this afternoon so far. He has 2 goals in the game. 4 points now for Jeff McNulty, a goal and an assist, and DeBrone looking for the hat trick. And where's the ball as it's in behind the net as Wendy comes out. Bodies go flying, and eventually the ball in a fresh 30 ends up going the way of the Oshawa Outlaws. Laskowitz with a goal and an assist. Ryan McRory with 5 points, 3 goals, 2 assists in that period. Gilray 2 and 2. Bergsma a pair of assists along with John St. John. And single goals for both Jeremy McWaters and Josh Tuguri. Bouncer off the boards, eludes Samuel Clare. And that gives McRory an opportunity. Feeding the trailer, it's McWaters who stumbles into the pile. And quickly over for Gage Board. Jeff McNulty. He'll find Laskowitz off the bench. Out of the corner. Stepping into a quick shot there, Mike Ribka. Again, Ribka traded during warm-up, we were told, I believe, from the Monarchs, but I'm not. He didn't show up on our list, so I believe it could have been from the Whitby Steelhawks. As Ferreira comes in and got the shot, Schutzkowski remains in net. He came in relief of Scotty Comer in that first period. Was waiting for the goal signal and never saw it as Matt Chamois disappeared into the corner. But 12-11 as Ferreira has his hat trick now. And the holding penalty wiped out by the goal. So we are 5-on-5. This is Miles. Looking to the far side. Mark DeBrone's lost his helmet as Miles working hard for this loose ball. They've announced Postma on the goal, but pretty sure that was Ferreira that came in and got his hat trick, though. As Laskowitz turns and fires. Laskowitz shoving here on the far side with Riley Morgan. Morgan gave him a chop up high into the face mask. And it's probably going to be a roughing call. As out of the corner, John St. John, goaltender on the bench with the delayed penalty. As it's played back for Clofer. Down low from behind the goal line on the crease. Laskowitz for his high stick on Laskowitz. Again, the NLL rule changed a couple of years ago, and high stick is now a major penalty automatic. There is no 2-minute minor for high sticking. McNulty's 4th assist of the game on that goal. As Schutzkowski sends this to center field. Picked up by Ryan Nolan. And, oh man, traffic jam at the Toronto bench. There was about 8 or 9 players on the floor right there for the Toronto Monarchs. And they're going to get a substitution penalty here, provided they don't score. John St. John tries and shot it into somebody's equipment. Possibly Cam Downey, I believe. Excuse me. James Vesna, the other red bucket on the Toronto bench, and substitution penalty, probably one of the easier ones. The official. Nearly 4 minutes gone here in the third quarter. As the Outlaws, who have led the entire way from about 21 seconds in, I think, was when they scored their first goal. McWaters' low shot rises and hits off the end glass. So 10 on the shot clock. Wendy making the save, peeked behind him as the ball does squirt free. It's McNulty up for St. John, back for McWaters in behind the cage. John St. John in front, and it just rolls out the top of the stick as he couldn't let the shot go. Ferreira there to pick it up. Oshawa fresh 30 seconds here with 1 minute and 10 seconds remaining on their power play. It's St. John up top for Laskowitz, who just steps in straight down the pipe. A sidearm shot that Wendy will save. Laskowitz into the corner. Playing it back through. Laskowitz, another shot, and a big-time soak there, stepping up with Sam Clare. McNulty behind the back to John St. John, who steps in towards the crease, takes the shot. And the crease defense has not been there today for the Toronto Monarchs. I realize they are killing a penalty right now, but Wendy's dealt with a lot of blue jerseys right in front of his face. As Laskowitz takes another shot. Wendy not sure where it is. Rebound bounces to McNulty. Back McWaters now. McNulty losing control. John St. John will give chase here to Miles. And then St. John falls down as the bench was calling for a hold as Renault, trailing the play, takes the shot. And on the stoppage, I believe this is the officials' timeout with 14 seconds. This over and back waved off as DeBrone gets nearly tackled. Wendy was on the bench and comes out. And that could have been too many men. Oh my. Big time confusion and all kinds of stuff down on the floor as then DeBrone gets taken down. Two officials put their arms high. And an illegal cross check is going to come here to Tyler Hulls. We didn't even get time to settle in after that official's timeout. That's a 5, so they go with the cross check instead. And you might argue that could have been a 5, direct to the helmet usually officials are instructed to call it, but nearly intercepted here as the Monarchs had just killed off one penalty as John St. John through the middle, stepping up Gill in the big hit as they tried to return it to the crease. Nothing there for McNulty, and it pops out of the stick of John St. John. Wendy bombs it down the floor. Shortstop positioning there for Claire, who then has to chase down Cam Mancini. And then St. John finding Laskowitz off the bench. He'll take top spot here on the power play. Looking for Mick Waters. And St. John again. In front, Mick Waters. As it looked like they were going to go all the way across crease. And Wendy came for the save. Ferreira spinning in front of Bergsma. Ferreira lost his stick, and that means that Oshawa can pick it up cleanly. 48 seconds on their power play as John St. John quickly down the crease. And what a save there by Wendy. As it was 3-on-1 with Miles back, falling down. Wendy to his right, and he makes the big arm save. Here's Postma. A first half hat trick for Postma. Eddie Renault's sitting on 2 goals as Postma one-on-one with Ryan Nolan here. Over to the far side, the ball bounces away. Gill in there to retrieve it. Reinforcements are headed off to get the defensive unit on the floor as the shot clock about to sound. It does just as it's picked up by Rob Clofer. Clofer and Miles, a spirited scrap in that first half. As Wendy will make this save, this ends up going up into the rafters, and it comes back down in the stick of John St. John. Bit of a bubble forming there on the carpet as well. This is the second game, as we've said, here on the floor today. And shot looking into the feet of Wendy. And, oof, nice pickup by Jason Crawford just over the line. Crawford at one time a very potent transition force for Whitby amongst other Winners clubs. As a bouncer off the end boards, reaching forward is John Vesna. Save made by Schutzkowski down the floor. And that'll bounce off the end boards above the window, which I thought was out of play, but it's not called. As the 8 count, we're deep in the 8 count, and Oshawa picks up, as it will be Josh Taguri. He'll feed Laskowitz off the far side, who comes off the wall, takes the shot, and it was high over top of the net. Anyways, McNulty can't bring it down as it's picked back up and quickly worked down the floor by Tanner Buck. He's sat on 2 goals for quite some time, and right in front of the official, Gage Board collides with Buck, and Board is going to go off for a cross check here. And it'll be Ferreira getting first touch. Ferreira and Downey. Postma's on the near crease. As Downey takes the shot himself. Where's the ball? It's stuck in the rafters. Again, the very short ceiling here at Children's Arena. If you're in the Oshawa area on a Saturday, this is the place to be. 3 and 7 nearly every week. As, oh boy. That'll be rug burn for sure for Tanner Buck. We heard that all the way up here as McRory. Buck and Miles chasing him. Wendy tried to go out and throw a pick. He does get back in time to save the shot from Laskowitz, though. As Laskowitz hard into the glass on the far side. And that'll be a penalty for sure. There's going to be the penalty there. And we're 4-on-4 here for 1 minute and 20 seconds. Laskowitz. St. John. Johnny across the top to Laskowitz. His shot down the pipe. Save made there by Wendy as it's picked up. And we're going to get another penalty here as Clofer eats a stick off the helmet. Another shot on the crease, and Wendy makes the save. Laskowitz back again, and Wendy will stand in, grab the rebound, and that'll get the stoppage, and it looked like a high stick signal. We'll see if that is legit. or what the call is after the official's timeout. So it is Eric Krepensek, and it is a high stick, and it is 5 minutes. So 4 on 3 in favor of the Oshawa Outlaws. They're saying Samuel Clare now, as I thought it was Krepensek going off, but if it's Clare, either way it's 5. 35 seconds of 4 on 3 in favor of the Oshawa Outlaws. Then they'll have a 2-man power play as St. John puts it in the corner. McNulty back for St. John. His shot and rebound, and Wendy makes the save again. Gilray and Laskowitz switching spots over on that right side, as Laskowitz looked to feed it to Gilray just as he was going to set a pick. And Wendy down the floor in his outlet pass. We were talking about this in the crowd before the game started, that he likes doing that. And we wondered how it would play with the short ceiling as he normally plays at the Toronto Rock Athletic Center. That's where the Monarchs will be home to St. Catharines next week. Whitby on January the 26th at 8 p.m. If you're in the Oakville area, check that game out, or be sure to subscribe here at the JVI Sports Network and check the playlist as we give you season-long coverage of the Arena Lacrosse League. Shot out of the corner, McNulty. This is a 5 on 3 now in favor of Oshawa for the next 10 seconds. And the first penalty on the board is the minor. So St. John to Laskowitz, and Wendy goes down to meet that shot. And now 5 on 4 as fresh out of the box and high stepping into the offensive zone. This is Eric Krepensek, who took the initial penalty. 3 minutes and 12 seconds remaining on a major penalty that has no goals off it as of yet, as Oshawa gets it down to John St. John on the crease. Gauge board out there, Laskowitz as well. 1-man change to get McNulty in to complete the power play unit. Cross crease, working out, McWaters the shot, Wendy the save, rebound picked up by the Outlaws. That'll be Gillum. Stepping off the bench was Rob Clofer. He got a piece of Sean Gillies as the ball rolled Aaron into the corner. And now Laskowitz up over center as we close in on the final 2 minutes of the third quarter. St. John in the middle, McWaters, his shot wide. Rebound hits the rafters, and Wendy, this time he goes on a bounce to get it down to Ferreira, who puts a twist on the shot to force Schutzkowski into a save. He pops up and finds John St. John right at center floor. Under 2 to play in the quarter, just over 2 to play in the Oshawa power play. Again, still a major penalty with which they can score 2 goals, as we did see that in our first game. St. John off the end boards, couldn't get the return shot before the 30-second violation. And Gillum out of his own end. Monarchs will be trying to take this clock all the way down now. It's in the stick of John Vesna. Vesna double teamed, far side, taken down, still has the ball, cradling underneath his body, but then it's picked up as it rolls out the back door. As Rob Clofer corralling it. Brought over center by McRory. Gilray. Laskowitz. St. John. And McNulty. This is McWaters. Gilray playing catch down low. Gilray will direct traffic here. McNulty goes behind the cage. Up top for McWaters. His shot fooled Wendy last second, readjusted to go to his right side. And with the ball down in front, it'll be pushed ahead by Hodgins into the stick of Patrick Miles. Miles looking for help. A bit of a late coming off the bench on the change here. With under 30 seconds left to play, Oshawa will get one more chance, as there's about 7-second difference between the shot clock and the game clock here. As Ferreira is way high. Ferreira taken down after the pass into the near side. And I'm not sure he got a shot away, as now 3 seconds, nothing for Oshawa to do here except run out the clock. 13-11 as an entertaining third quarter, but not much to show for goals. 13-11, as we said, for Oshawa as we head to the final 15. .15 seconds left in the Oshawa power play here as Bergsma and Gillum will go head-to-head. The face-off dot. This is about as heavyweight a battle as you're going to see in terms of face-off combatants, as two of the best in the league right there, as they've gone, actually haven't faced each other a lot today. On a bounce to Gillum, who hadn't yet got off the floor, still had the face-off twig as well, as it'll be played back for Tanner Buck. Deke John St. John out, got a second shot, but Shuskowski saves them all. And then quickly down the floor here for, Josh Gilray. Gilray trying to force the back in call by throwing the body on Buck. And Buck looks off Ferreira to go to the half-boards. I don't think Ferreira liked it too much, as DeBrone and Miles are not going to go. Thought they might. And that's actually Riley Morgan. We said they've had a thing going all day long. And now I see the blue glove down there, and I also see Miles on the floor. Laskowitz will start what is a power play for Oshawa, offsetting roughing minors against Riley Morgan and Mark DeBrone, and then an additional minor penalty to Riley Morgan. That's the one that's on the board. That's the one that puts Toronto a man down here. Although it hasn't really worked for Oshawa. You can only imagine it's a matter of time, however, as John St. John takes a low shot and Wendy makes the save. He's been most of the reason why it hasn't worked, and most of the reason why we only had 1 goal apiece in that third quarter. 13-11 as we sit right now. As Krepensek will find Tanner Buck, who immediately goes to the far side for Potsma. A blistering first couple quarters for Potsma, who got his hat trick over and done with early, but not a lot since then. Working out of the corner, Krepensek will stare down Jeremy McWaters. He got the first goal of the game, did Jeremy McWaters, as this wide shot bounces off the end dasher and all the way down to Ryan Schutzkowski. Monarchs out of the corner. It'll work its way back to Ferreira. Again, if you missed it earlier, no Jordan Dance in the lineup for the Monarchs tonight. Normally one of the spark plugs for this team when he's here. As the Monarchs player taken down, it results in a 3-on-1. And Aaron Walker, in his rookie season, he'll score for the Outlaws. It's been a while between goals, but 14-11. 38 seconds remaining in the power play that is now over, as Bergsma and Gillen again. Face-off battles for me anyways, very intriguing to watch. And this one thrown back into the defensive zone as Patrick Miles corrals it. There for Hodgins. And now Halls. Tyler Halls waits for space to clear in front. Goes there for Downey, who shoots, and that goes through Schutzkowski. Gillum losing this face-off. It ends up in the stick of Josh Taguri, who cuts the corner, goes to the cage, passes back for Laskowitz. Did Wendy save that? Oh, my goodness, yes, he did. Oh, wow. Looked like Laskowitz was home free as everyone paid attention to Taguri, but Craig Wendy once again. We've seen this as we said earlier, so many times over the past 12 months, resulted in him actually being named to the practice roster of the Georgia Swarm. Rob Clofer picks up the errant ball and takes off running as that ball hit a light standard. And it was pointed Oshawa's way, but the officials get back together and talk about it. John Vandergiesen, who was actually in his first year of reffing in the National Lacrosse League. You have to do 1 year of service in the box as Ferreira spins and fires. But to finish that thought, John Vandergiesen, a first-year NLL official, as early movement there from Paul Jelly, will award this to Tyler Halls. You have to do 1 year as a timekeeper in the box. I believe Matt Chamois is in there as well. So a chance to ref at NLL speeds with the NLL rulebook here in the Arena Lacrosse, not just a development league for players, but officials as well with pro aspirations. 1 goal game here with 11 minutes to play in regulation time. And a whistle as they're going to say Clofer went through the crease. Excuse me, Gilray. As DeBrone, couple whacks there for Krepensek, who now peels off. Vesna for Eddie Renault. Far side, Postma. Popping up top in the shot through traffic. Tanner Buck, it's been a while, but he does get his hat trick. This official's timeout can't come soon enough for the Oshawa Outlaws. Get the feeling that they may need a goal here as the bouncer to Mancini. Off the bench, John St. John, he gets it! As we probably will have a shootout here down to the end, as it looks like. As Jelly and Gillum now talked about Bergsma's face-off prowess, but Paul Jelly also right there to have two guys who can do it so well. McNulty, bit of a change-up shot and ends up going wide. As we near 10 on the shot clock for Laskowitz. He shoots through a crowd, and oh boy, that hit Ferreira right on the hand. As Laskowitz, then the soak from Riley Morgan right off the knee. Dana Flats, get ready, here they come. She's the trainer for the Toronto Monarchs. As Morgan and Ferreira come off, and the Monarchs bench realizing that, and they're going to get some treatment for sure. 1 goal game. Back underway, final 10 minutes to settle this one. Again, if Toronto takes the victory, they'll jump up into a tie for second. If Oshawa wins, it'll be a 3-way tie for third. Oshawa currently in 6th. With 1 win, tied with Paris. I guess effectively a tie for 5th, as Wendy, another great save. That's how the Monarchs can make these big runs, as that'll be a crease violation, I believe, against Oshawa, as Mike Vertoli was right on the doorstep. Ferreira, don't even think he left the floor after taking that shot off. It looked like the hand just before the officials' timeout. Haven't seen Riley Morgan return yet. Jordan McKibben stepping up here as the ball gets into the corner, and the quick stick play there to McWaters. Toronto's come back to tie, but that's the closest they've been able to get. As Oshawa scored in the first 20 seconds of the game and have led the entire distance. As now Jelly and Gillum go head to head, and it's going to be Paul Jelly. This is Morgan back out there who took that shot off the leg. St. John and McNulty on the assists on that most recent goal. And that is the 5th assist of the game for Jeff McNulty. To go along with just 1 goal, that's what we've got him for anyways. As Ferreira passing up top. I thought this was going to be a Toronto penalty, but looks like Oshawa's going to get it as Taguri steers his man away in the far side, and holding the stick is the call. It'll be started by Ferreira. And Renault into the corner for Buck. Far side, Downey, Posma, shot and a goal. Renault's second power play goal. He's got the hat trick now. 31 goals in the game. Now 16-15 in favor of Oshawa. Leading by 1 with 8 minutes left to play. Paul Jelly thought he had that in the back of the stick, but it's Tyler Halls still with it in the face-off twig. Again, that rule changed. You can't carry it in the back of the stick. Ferreira up top. He'll go to Downey. Downey shot high. It goes off the end glass and bounces straight to, Gage Board, who quickly sends it to the crease, and a bouncer through that nearly fooled Craig Wendy. Toronto bench wants Hodgkins to hurry this up, as stepping up into the shot, Postman takes it, and DeBrone partially blocking it and forcing it to go high. And it will be Oshawa possession, under 7 to play. Oshawa up by 1. Laskowitz. Into the corner, up top now, it's John St. John. As Johnny chases that down into the corner, Patrick Miles will get it on a bounce. Trying to send it up to Ryan Farazovic, and Farazovic has to posture up in the corner. He can't find the handle, as it'll be Rob Clofer running it over the restraining line. Return pass to Clofer. He gets taken into the boards. And now the change off the bench. McNulty on his wrong side. Backpedaling Vertoli. They're going to ISO St. John as now McNulty steps up. The bouncer through. That looked like it hit off the arm of Craig Wendy. Oshawa is saying that as well. And the officials didn't see it. Here's Ferreira. Could be a break now for the Monarchs as Posma throws it back to Renault. Renault turns and fires and scores. Eddie Renault and Sam Posma, maybe two of the smallest players on the offensive side of the ball, but they've been making things happen tonight. 4 goals on the afternoon for Eddie Renault with an assist. 3 now for Posma with 2 assists. As Laskowitz takes the shot, Wendy's looking for it. It's bouncing now in his crease as he'll go on a bounce. Up for, Sam Clare. Clare trying to find Gillies off the bench. He shovels it back to Downey. Graham Bergsma will step in front of him to get body position. And Clare trying to keep it on the side of the Monarchs. Halls dancing through his Krepensek. His shot off the end boards. And all the way up. That should be the officials' timeout as the horn sounds. 4:59 in a tie game to settle it here in the fourth quarter. Laskowitz will take this up top. Final 5 minutes here of regulation time with a tied 16 score. Quickly into the corner. McNulty behind the net. Feeds it out in front. Gilray, his shot. Tipped. And it bounces up into the screening. Who's it going to be off of? They say it's Toronto ball, and a quick restart for Sam Clare. He gets it up over center. Vertoli on Clare. Steered him all the way back to the timekeeper's box, but they do separate now as Ferreira comes over the top. Barone stepped up and laid the body into Posma. The bench wanted an interference call, and there was none coming. As the rush is on here with Cam Mancini. He gets turned away at the last second as Laskowitz shoots through a crowd. Late reaction there by Wendy. It was wide anyways, and it'll be Toronto ball. It looks like it's moving deep in the offensive zone as well. 4 minutes and 3 seconds remaining here in the fourth. Eddie Renault out of the corner. Renault trying to get away from Gage Board. He'll pass to the far side. Jason Crawford taking a shift up on offense. Crawford trying to pick Bergsma out of the way. Posma, his low shot save made by Schutzkowski. And Bergsma will feed it to the near side. Here comes Walker. Aaron Walker out in front. And the quick shot from Gage Board. Wendy making the save as the rebound now picked up by Matt Hodgins. Up across center. Tanner Buck with the hat trick in the game. Slowing things down right now. 16 all. Toronto has yet to lead here as Cam Downey takes it off the wall. This is as close as they've got. They've tied it twice as Renault's shot sails wide off the end. Boards it, comes up to center. Picked up by Oshawa. Gage Board feeds it back to John St. John. He had Wendy at his mercy. Down and out, and St. John shoots it over top. John St. John trailing the play as he took the feed from Gage Board. Stalemate here between Halls and Jelly. Still nobody's ball. Still as Jelly goes down. Taguri comes away with the ball, gets to his correct side. Shot by Laskowitz, and he scores. That'll be the hat trick for Laskowitz. Jelly ended up on his backside as the goal was going in, as that battle continued at the stripe, and him and Gillen will do it again. And that time straight out from Paul Jelly and into the protective screening here. 18-16 in favor of Oshawa. They've got the last two. Their time to put momentum together. We'll see if the Monarchs can get one of their patented runs going. Ferreira held up by Barone, and Barone's going to go as Barone the dive, no goal on the crease violation as Schutzkowski lands on top of Ferreira in the crease, but Mark DeBrone headed back to the penalty box here. 3 power play goals on the afternoon for the Toronto Monarchs, as Eddie Renault has 2 of them. Tanner Buck, his first, was scored on a power play. Ferreira lost control. Renault will corral it again. Downey back for Renault, straight through, and Schutzkowski making the save. Rebound picked up by Rob Clofer. He'll get it up over center. Clofer running through traffic. Bouncer initially eluding Ryan McRory. Graham Bergsma will pick it up though, as Tanner Buck chasing him down. Pick thrown by St. John. 5 seconds. St. John in the corner. St. John. Oh, it went over the shoulder behind the back, and the shot fooled Wendy, it looked like, as now the Monarchs pushing the floor. All the way down to the crease. Here's the shot for Posma. And he's going to corral his own rebound as it drops loose again. Picked up Ferreira. Now Buck. And again slowing things down. 50 seconds left in the power play. Here's the shot, and another penalty coming to Oshawa as Ferreira was dumped on the edge of the crease. This will be a two-man advantage for the Monarchs as they trail by 2 with 1 minute and 10 seconds remaining in regulation. Steve Toll says if you're in trouble, call timeout. Don't worry about it. As Ryan McCrory goes off for an illegal cross-check. Safety valve man will be Patrick Miles. As Ferreira down on the crease looking for Buck. Buck getting it back up top. Shot for Downey. He doesn't take it. Ferreira onto the crease. Posma. It bounces back for Buck. Shot here from Downey. Bouncer off the glass, and this is what Miles is back there for as he keeps the play alive. Shot clock ticks down to 5, however. 45 left in the period as the shot off the end boards. Turning and firing there. Oh, Eddie Renault scores from long distance. Eddie Renault's 3rd power play goal, his 6th of the game. Sorry, 5th of the game. Timeout called here by Oshawa as they control the faceoff. 36.2 remaining in regulation with Toronto down by 1. The Monarchs burn their timeout off the faceoff win. They'll keep Wendy in the cage as they're on the power play. Minute 24, 30 seconds remaining in the game. Over it goes for Downey from Renault. Up for Buck. And Downey again. Downey to Ferreira. Looks like they want the shot to come from the left side as Posma, as Ferreira and DeBrone got tied up. That ball goes out of bounds. 19.3 benches screaming for the timeout for Oshawa as they had a man breaking down the floor, but they will discuss this final to see if they can hang on to their 1-goal lead. Looks like Josh Taguri, they call him the pit bull, will get the assignment down in the corner. Schutzkowski will be the safety valve if they need it. And high pass there, looked like it was sended for the fence. However, it's taken up and down by Gilray. He backs away for the double team. Under 10 to go. 5 seconds now as it's up for Taguri. Hands team out here, and Laskowitz looks like he's going to secure the victory here for Oshawa. They've got their 2nd win, a tie for 3rd with Toronto and Six Nations. What a game, 18-17 your final here on a full day of lacrosse from Children's Arena. Next week, January 26th, back here, St. Catharines in Peterborough at 3 p.m., Paris and Oshawa at 7 in Oakville, Whitby and Toronto at 8 p.m. at the Toronto Rock Athletic Center, and then Sunday, January the 27th, Paris and Six Nations at the ILA at 4 p.m. On behalf of our JVI Sports Network crew, the Arena Lacrosse League, I'm Matthew Carrick. Be sure to subscribe to the channel and watch for season-long coverage of the Arena Lacrosse League. Thanks for watching. We'll talk to you next time.